Hello everyone. Today I am playing with this little feather. I know several of you over the year have asked me about feathers, and I just thought I would go ahead and paint one today. So the way I kind of get the original shape and all of that is, let me show you. Let's see, let me find a paper here. So here's a paper. So what I will typically do is, we know the shape is similar to this, and I mean, that's a rough shape. It actually almost looks like a leaf, doesn't it? And then I just go in and I start kind of creating some gaps, because you know how feathers have those. And then at the end, they always have those crazy little pieces sticking out. And like that. And then I'll just go back in and erase these lines. By the way, this is my Blackwing pencil, which you know I've shared a lot. It has the little eraser here. I love because I can just replace the eraser. And they're not all black. Some of them are white erasers. So anyway, that's what I do for my leaf. And you could make them all kinds of different shapes. You could even do something like this. Let's see. So there's my original shape. And then you could do something, because every once in a while I'll find some really wonky feathers out in the desert where they'll be twisted and kind of tweaked a bit. So you could even do something like that, just because they get kind of misshapen. And then just go ahead and go in and fill out the rest, something like that. So there you go. So let's go on to painting it. There are an awful lot of techniques to painting these, but, and I'm doing a, can't wait, Sue, if you're out there, I can't wait for our private tomorrow. She's in the UK. We've worked a lot together, and she's just fantastic. She's a wonderful artist, and we have a lot of fun. So I'm going to paint with the blue here, but you could make your feathers any color. And I've got here about 80% water, 20% color, because as you know, we always start with our lightest colors. And I just go in and start laying down some of that color. I might keep it a little bit darker towards the vein in the middle, and I'll come in and darken that up as well. And I'm basically working one side at a time. I can't remember what color I had in there. I think it was turkey blue. Every time I use that, I know I crack up. And I'm trying to keep it rather washy, because like I said, we can always go darker. Going lighter is a lot harder. And just working the one side at a time. And then I'll go in and let's add some different darker values in there. And again, just going down that middle. What I'll end up doing too is even adding some blue in there. And let's just play with, by the way, I'm using my 8 round, but any eight rounds you have, or any round you want to use, is just fine. This is my brush line, hopefully will be coming out this summer. And I'll put the link in, you guys have all been so supportive and so sweet. I'll put the link to this brush set, which is a collab between Brushimo and myself. Oops, I was using that one. You could add purples in here. Really, whatever color you want, just dabbing off my brush and softening those lines. And maybe we could even add in a tiny, tiny watered down bit of blue. I'm sorry, purple. And these are those kind of wonky feathers that are always down at the bottom. Or ones I find anyway. You might even have some wonky feathers. So I'm just kind of flicking my brush. And while it's wet, I will even go in and maybe just add a tiny bit of that yellow sienna, just for some interest while it's wet. And so that was a little darker than I really wanted. Kind of to get, sometimes feathers even have some little dots on them. Pick up a little bit of that. So just giving it that fun look. Then go in. And again, getting it a little darker. I'm going to pick up my dark brown here. I'm using the MeiLiang palette, by the way, made by Paul Rubens. You know, I love that. It's such a great palette for beginners. And let's see. How about if we mix a little bit of the darker, maybe even a touch of Prussian. Yeah, I kind of like that. And you know, feathers, they have all these funky little ones that typically stand out a bit. I don't want to get too nitpicky here. Maybe wetting the edge a little bit. Push and pull with a damp brush. Something like that. And then we'll just start going in on the other side. So there you go. I think that's kind of fun. So I'm going to go in here, and this time, just so you kind of can see a little bit of the difference, let's just go in and wet our area. Just damp, not so it's shiny, not any puddles, anything like that. And then I will bring some of that purple up into the feather, so you haven't got just this purple down at the bottom hanging out there. Your eye kind of just stops there. We want to spread it around, so just using the tip of my brush, very light pressure. Maybe mix it with some of that sky blue. I love the blues in that palette. I think I might have done a feather tutorial last year. I know a lot of you have asked me. There we go. So pretty, right? And if you go in there while it's wet, just with a damp brush, not too wet, you can get some really fun little effects like that. Isn't that pretty? And let's see, let's add a tiny bit of that purple so it doesn't look so out of place. I'm just picking up a tiny bit with my brush and just going to spread a little bit of it here and there, very lightly. We're doing tomorrow in my private, we're going to do a mask Sue from the UK. Can't wait. I've had so much fun painting with you over the years. And then I think I'll just darken that up a bit. So let's grab some of that Prussian blue, some of the turquoise blue, and just make a little bit darker. Maybe mix in a little bit of that purple. And sometimes I find, I'm just flicking here, by the way. Sometimes I'll find these feathers out in the desert, and boy, they are crazy, guys. Like, what did those go through? Now I'm going to go through the middle and just kind of mix maybe some of that blue with the brown and just create that line down the middle, and then I'm about done. I'm gonna just the lightest pressure and use that side. So there you go. Now the only thing I might add here is maybe just some little touches around the edges, just to add some interest there, kind of like I did there. Because you want to try and get all the different values, as I always talk about, your dark values, your light values. And I'll tell you, it's rather hot here today, so these paints are drying rather quickly. So there you go. I don't want to do any more of that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do a short, and it's going to have, I'm going to add something to this that I hope you will think is kind of fun. I feel like I want to just deepen that a tiny bit. So let's get some of that. Oops, wrong one. Prussian blue and some of that brown. Now, because that has some sienna in it, which has some yellow, notice it's turning a little green. And that's why it is important to be aware of the color wheel, which I'm going to start sharing with you. I'm trying to get that down for you. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. And then keep your eyes out for that short, because sneak peek, I'm going to be adding some bling to this. All right, everybody, I hope that was fun, and happy painting. Thanks for being here with me.